Welcome to True North Perspective. My name is Sean. What happens when a controversial figure gets pardoned only to end up in prison again? In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the lawsuit that is ongoing against the federal government, the US federal government, for $100 million. For those that have not heard, Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, has launched a lawsuit against the federal government, as I mentioned earlier, for $100 million. So we're going to take a quick look, a glance at what the lawsuit is about, why they're suing, and what the reactions of some of the people are. Now, just to let you know, Proud Boys are a white supremacist, male chauvinistic gang. They are a bunch of losers who support Donald Trump. They are criminals, and they're also, child. I'm going to bleep it out, but you know what I mean. They are not good people. They cause a lot of issues. They have vandalized various churches, and there have been tons of lawsuits against them, and they can no longer even use the Proud Boys logo. Having said that, let's continue on and take a look at an article that was recently published by Fox News. I'm showing you this article because it is a right-wing media, and that way you get an idea that everybody is pretty much on the same page when it comes to the Proud Boys. And just so you know that the Proud Boys were involved in the insurrection that took place on January the 6th in 2021, because the lovely the current president of the United States had convinced the mega morons that he had won the election and it was rigged. It was rigged, and it was not rigged. It was a fair election until today. If you hear some of his pressers, that's all he talks about is, we won the election by a landslide. And that is not true. But before I digress, let's take a look at the article. Like I said, it was actually published by Fox News. So let's take a quick look at this article, and I will introduce you to these fantastic characters. And so let's take a look here. All right, Proud Boy members file a federal lawsuit over illegal tactics in January 6th prosecutions. 5 Proud Boy members claim the federal government violated the constitutional rights. Give me a break. Constitutional rights. The only right they should have is the right to remain silent and get arrested for all the crimes and all the havoc they caused. People got injured. Police officers, law-abiding police officers, put their lives on the line to stop this insurrection. Police officers got hurt, severely hurt. One person died of fatal injuries, right? And this is all because of Donald Trump and because of his group of Proud Boys. So let's continue on with the article. 5 members of the Proud Boys are suing the U.S. government and certain employees in the FBI and Department of Justice for $100 million over their January 6 prosecutions. I mean, just think about it. What they have the gall to sue the federal government. The same very government, federal government, who actually pardoned them. And gave them a chance to come out and, be free. And you would think that they would turn their lives around, but hey, God, they are gangbangers. So, what is the chance of that happening? So let's continue going on. Enrique Tarrio, Zachary Earl, Ethan Nordian, Joseph Biggs, and Dominic Pizzola allege in the lawsuit the FBI and DOJ violated their constitutional rights with their prosecution over what prosecutors said was their planning of the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. In a document filed in a Florida federal court and obtained by Fox News Digital, the men claim egregious and systematic abuse of the legal system and the United States Constitution to punish and oppress political allies of President Trump by any and all necessary by any and all means necessary, legal or illegal, through the use of evidence tampering, witness intimidation, violations of attorney-client privilege, and placing spies to report on trial strategy. The government got its fondest wish of imprisoning the J6 defendants, the modern equivalent of placing one's enemies' heads on a spike outside the town hall, as a warning to anyone who think to challenge the status quo. All right, there was nothing like that happened. It was clear cut. They were caught on video. There was numerous amounts of evidence to show that these, white racist supremacists, caused the insurrection. They caused a lot of trouble. A lot of people got injured. Let's continue on. And let me introduce you, like I said, to these amazing people. And you'll get a feel for yourself. Fox News Digital has reached out to the U.S. Department of Justice for comment. 4 of the 5 men were convicted of seditious conspiracy after the attack, and Tarrio faced the harshest punishment, 22 years, for planning the attack of any of the January 6 defendants, according to the Wall Street Journal. Nordian was sentenced to 18 years, Biggs was sentenced to 17 years, and Rel was sentenced to 15 years. Pizzola was found guilty of the conspiracy to obstruct Congress and sentenced to 10 years in prison. However, and this is the best part, President Donald Trump pardoned or commuted the sentence of nearly all the defendants after he took office this year, including Tarrio, Rel, Nordian, Biggs, and Pizzola. All the men except Tarrio were at the U.S. Capitol January 6th, according to the Journal. And I'll tell you why Tarrio was not there, because he was already under arrest at that point, but he had a hand in planning the insurrection. Anyways, Tarrio had been barred from entering Washington, D.C. because of the previous arrest, the Washington Post reported. So I'm sorry, I correct myself. He was not under arrest, but he was barred from entering Washington. Now the plaintiffs are vindicated, free, and able to once again exercise their rights as American citizens. They bring this action against their tormentors for violations of their Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment rights, as well as the common law tort of malicious prosecution and false imprisonment, the suit adds. Prosecutors said Pazzola was seen on video using a police riot shield to commit the first breach of the U.S. Capitol January 6th. I don't know what else proof you need to see that this crime was actually committed by them. There was no conspiracy. Prosecutors alleged the men were charged under a novel theory of criminal conspiracy called the Tool Theory, according to the suit. Despite the legal jiggery pokery employed by the government to obscure the fact, the plaintiffs were essentially convicted of stochastic terrorism, a leftist bugbear used to describe rhetoric offensive to them, and they claimed provokers of violent acts. The men also claimed in the lawsuit that the government didn't have probable cause to raid their homes. Well, I am very curious to know what you guys think of this lawsuit, this frivolous lawsuit. I think it doesn't hold any weight, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to lose, because this is what they did. The government and the DOJ and the police officers have a right to search your home if they deem that there's something that will be of use, or something that could be used as evidence, and as long as they have a warrant, they have to they're able to do this. Now, you should also know, guys, that some of these guys that were pardoned, were very serious criminals that had committed crimes that were very egregious. Like I said, some of them were a child, you know what I'm talking about, and some of them were in for attempted murder, some of them. So there was a whole bunch of folks that were, that had been arrested for the insurrection, but they already had pending criminal charges, and they were rearrested. Some of them died in a car accident. Some of them, got caught again and got imprisoned. So this group wasn't the best group. It wasn't like that they got pardoned because they were, really pristine people, and that, that they were practicing peaceful protest. That was not the case. They rushed Capitol. They broke in. They injured a whole bunch of law-abiding police officers. What they did was absolutely wrong, and now they have the gall to sue the government for $100 million. I'm going to end the video by showing you a reaction from one of somebody that is opposed to this, and they have a problem, which I think most of us have, with the Proud Boys. So let's take a look at this video quickly. And we'll go from there. It's just ironic. Like, I don't understand, how this government operates. The very same government, as I mentioned, ends up helping you and pardons you, and then you come back and you now are suing them. So let's take a look at the video, and here it is.
Insurrectionist bastard! Go to hell, Enrique Tarrio! Insurgente de mierda! Traitors! Traitors!
So you can see here that not everybody is very happy about this. You can see Tarrio was sitting down there looking at his phone. He's not doing anything. They changed the name because they no longer have the trademark for the Proud Boys, which is a good thing. It was given to some church, and we'll get into details of that in a later video. But this is the type of people that are roaming the streets of the United States, and this is not the first pardon that Donald Trump has issued. There are a whole bunch of the pardons that Donald Trump has issued, including people that have scammed the government for millions of dollars, and then used it towards himself, charity frauds. This is just interesting to see that it is, nowadays you can get a pardon. You can actually buy a pardon by donating to his, campaign. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the content, and I apologize for speeding through it. I get excited. I'm very passionate about politics all around the world. In the next video, we'll be discussing a whole bunch of other things, including Iran, the war against Iran, and Israel's part in it, and Russia's part in it, as well as the United States. If you like the content, if you found it valuable, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Please do leave a comment. I'm very curious to hear what you think about this entire lawsuit. Do you think it's frivolous? Are you a Proud Boy supporter? Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.